The member for Harbour Grace, Porter Grey.
Thank you, Chair, and I would like to thank our leader for bringing in this this PMR here today, this public private members resolution. It's probably long overdue, and I think many would agree on all sides of the House that it's something that we should have considered. And I'd like not to see it limited to children, but even adults, because we've all I think as politicians of the day, we've all experienced social media. Social media is great, and there are a lot of positives about social media, of course, getting your communication, getting your word out there. But that said, too, it's also a tool for anonymous people to come and criticize and perhaps tell lies and just put things out there that are meant to cause harm and hurt. So I applaud this PMR, and it's good to see it has the support as well of the third party. And I would imagine that everybody would be supportive of this resolution, because again, this is just one of those good times where we can stand up and do some good things here in the House of Assembly in collaboration. It also reminds me of some good legislation that we brought in as a government that was supported unanimously here in the House of Assembly. And it reminds me of the Intimate Images Act, or what we know as revenge porn. We brought that legislation in this House. It was brought in by the Minister of Justice and Public Safety of the day, and of course it was supported unanimously. And what that does, that protects women or anyone, who don't give their consent for intimate images, and someone goes and posts that, or even sends it around, on their social media or on their cell phones or whatnot. And again, so now it actually has made that illegal to do. I mean, there are major consequences by law if someone should do that. So there is some protection there. So that's what I wanted to bring that up and put that on the record. I'm just going to share a story. I remember back in the early 90s when we first got our computer, one of those old-fashioned computers in the house. You could probably remember those times as well, Chair. And I remember it was placed in our living room, and it was a new novelty item for us. And I was sitting at the computer, and I don't know, I can't remember the particular program. I mean, again, early 90s. And that's when, the computer, there was a little microphone, and you could talk and interact, obviously, with someone out there in cyberspace, someone on the internet. And I'll remember, I'm a child. I was young at that age, in the 90s. And remember getting on this program and a voice coming on and asking a very age-inappropriate question. And of course, you couldn't see anybody. There was no webcam there. But I remember the reaction that my parents had. Needless to say, that program was removed off the computer. We probably didn't even know it was there. But my point is, it can certainly be a very dangerous place for children, for youth, and for everybody, but especially for youth, where they rely on their parents and guardians and supporters and caregivers to make the best decisions for them. Because as we know, it's a place where predators play. We see that. And we see that too often. And unfortunately, we've seen recent stories of families and people that are impacted here in our very own Newfoundland and Labrador, where youth have taken their lives because of the bullying that they're experiencing on there. And I mean, we can all go back to our school days and remember the school bus can be an intimidating place for kids, especially it's a place where kids can be bullied as well as the school. But now with social media, that doesn't go away when they get off that bus or when they leave school to go home for the weekend. They are faced with that pressure, that stress, 24/7. And even some apps such as like Snapchat. I personally don't know how to use Snapchat, but kids are a whiz at Snapchat. That's how they communicate. I know a lot of my friends who have children, that's how they watch their kids or communicate with their children even. But again, it's good to see some measures to be put in place here to protect our youth. We have to do what we can to teach them the best guidance, the best principles, the best values. And again, a message that everyone should remember: once you put something out there on social media, it's permanent. You may delete it from your platform. You may delete it from your Twitter or your Facebook or whatever, your Instagram, but it's still there. And ultimately, who's to say who can get access to it? We don't know. Again, so I try to live by my own policy. I wouldn't put anything in writing or on Facebook or on social media that I wouldn't stand up and stand by publicly should I ever be questioned on that in public. So I do applaud this. I think it's certainly a great PMR. It's good to see the consent here with everyone. Just go over my notes to make sure I'm not missing anything. But again, it reminds me of the Intimate Images Act. That's a good piece of legislation that was brought in. But that said, though, our thoughts and prayers and heartfelt condolences for families who have lost people because of cyberbullying. Because, again, it happens to children, as our leader said. I mean, just to see little Jack's reaction change, based on what he was watching. I mean, you know, they're out there. And just like anywhere, you know, there's predators there, and they're out there to capture our youth, you know, to influence our youth. And Lord knows, as a former Minister for Women and Gender Equality, it's also a tool used for trafficking that's used for women. And we know that happens. This is not something that just happens far out there in another province or another country. It happens right here in our own backyard here in Newfoundland, Labrador. So that said, I will take my seat because I do know there's some members who want to talk and who want to add to this legislation. It's positive. I commend our leader again for bringing this in, and I look forward to the collaboration of the entire House on this one. Thank you, Chair.